that the holidays are over, I have some more time to post a few more videos that I forgot about. And some are pretty important, like our projection mapping. So I'm going to have my son take over and tell you a little bit about how he made this great show this year for Camp Moreno Manor. We used effects like the silhouette you see in the left-hand corner there from Atmos Effects. We used the eerie eyes in the windows. And we did change a few things to make it fit our projection mapping, and that's what my son will probably tell you about. We even customized a few things and even filmed our own scenes just to fit in, like Bigfoot. It was really fun to film Bigfoot and put it in our show. And, well, just stay tuned and keep following along, and we'll tell you how we did it.
Hello. This Halloween we did projection mapping again. I was in charge of making the show, so I'm just going to do a quick overview of everything I did. We started out with this template of the lines that we had traced a couple years back. I initially added this wood texture by using something called vanishing point. So I'm going to click on a layer, and then you can see I put up all these grids which capture the perspective of the building, and then I was able to copy and paste an image onto the face, and it would automatically detect the orientation of it, the way it's supposed to look. So that's what I did. Added a little bit of logs as well in the roof, although the roof wasn't necessarily necessary. I didn't need that. So if I was to do it again, I probably would leave out the roof and kept it just black or something. Shading is another big thing that I did. It really helped, isolate the different scenes, and it actually works pretty well when you're projecting. And then obviously some color correction to make it look a little more easy on the eyes. See, the next thing I did was animate it, and this is where most of the work went into. Last year we did a castle, and I also animated it. I did a couple similar things. For example, in the rooms, I made sure to place, these little scenes, and within the scenes there was lights in each of them, and these lights would flicker. So just a little more a little more motion in this image, so it's just not still. For this bottom left room, I got these candles, and it's actual footage. So as it plays, the candles move. It's kind of hard to see. It shows a bad spot, but as you can see here, they're actual candles. So that's probably the first thing I did. As we skim through it, see around here, I believe I made it so all the lights turn off. And they flicker a couple times, and then obviously the playback's very slow. Eventually, they should all shut off. See, the remnants of the candles are there. Just a little bit of a glow. And I believe the next scene I did was with the eyes. These are some eyes I got from Atmos FX, and I just placed them in the room. It was very easy, and they worked great. They have their own audio. And then what I did was I cropped each of the eyes individually so I can choose certain ones and place them in the windows. I also animated the speed and a little bit of movement on them, just to keep them there. And then another big thing I did was animate this. This is another thing from Atmos FX. There we go. Just a animation of a shadow. I think it was called Perchers of the Night. And what it had was animals that would interact with the branch. If I could find where I did that. Anyway, they had animals. So what I did was I masked out everything besides the branch and the animals. I think I used a color key, or Luma key I meant. So yeah, a Luma key, keyed out the darker, left just this. I did have an issue in that the Atmos FX branch ended right here. And in order to keep it in the center of this square, I needed to extend it, and I didn't want a gap here. So what I had to do is I went through and created my own tree and tried my best to animate it with the Atmos FX tree. So when it blew in the wind, it almost looked like it extended. And that actually worked pretty well. I don't think anyone noticed that this entire portion of the animation was handmade. But yeah, that worked great for me. There's a lot more presets that you can use, not just a silhouette. I think a few of them are in color, so that's great. And then the other thing I did was all the lights turned back on. As you can see in here, the chandelier swayed back and forth. And here we go. I had Bigfoot break through the window and smash around. I actually added this into Premiere Pro and did the sound effects, so I'll show that at the end. But yeah, we recorded this, and I'll dive more into that later. Something kind of cool. Last year, I had a dragon break through the window, and kind of a similar thing, and it came out in bricks. This time it was like planks of wood, and it shattered. And last year, if you go back, I remember saying that one thing I wanted to fix was to have the bricks come out at an angle, like on the perspective, instead of straight on. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you go back to that video, you see. Anyway, this time I was able to fix that, so that was awesome. And then a drop shadow as well to give that depth to this other room. A lot of drop shadows throughout this entire project just to give that depth. It does a lot. Then I had the bricks come back through in slow motion backwards. And I believe that was it for the animation. As you can see right here, this is the Premiere Pro project. All I did is pretty much just add all the sound effects from the various clips. And then also patched up a couple problems in the mapping so I didn't have to re-render the After Effects composition. So that worked great. And the next thing that I'll go over is the Bigfoot. Alrighty, now this is the Bigfoot composition. I did this before the house mapping. For this, we had bought a Bigfoot costume.
All right, action,
Okay,
walk on.
I think this is it. Yeah, so we had a Bigfoot costume for our haunt, and what we were able to do was just put it on a green screen, or a blue screen in this case, and record him doing different things. So as you can see here, here's the raw footage. We had a lot of stuff up close and a couple far things. So one big mistake I had was that since the window was about this size, we were only able to get footage of him walking like up close to the window, nothing in the back. If I were to do this again, the main thing I would do is record more footage with Bigfoot and have him like walk in place or something. That way I can animate him walking across, because we don't have a big enough blue screen to get that perspective right. So yeah, if we just had him walking in place, I would have been able to have him go between the trees in the back. I'd actually planned for that to happen, and I had cropped out some of these trees and stuff, but I wasn't able to do that. But definitely, just a lot of keying the Bigfoot. It's kind of hard because it has a lot of strands of hair, but with a little bit of color correction, I was able to get it pretty good. And then just blending it in with the scene, it fit in very well. I had fog layers as well in between the trees, but overall it worked well. I also wanted to do another whole composition where I would use different clips of Bigfoot and try to get because we have two windows, try to get the windows to match up to like play together. But what I ended up doing was just playing the same clip, offsetted it at different times, and that worked out. So that was nice, but that was another thing if I had more time that I would have liked to do. Alright, so that was another fun year. Not as crazy, I don't think, as last year's projection mapping with the whole dragon and using Maya. That was a whole nother program I had to learn, and I didn't have an opportunity to use that for this year's. But I'm hoping in future years I'll be able to revisit Maya and dive into that. Learned a lot of new things in After Effects and Photoshop, and really just honed in my skills. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what I do next. So thank you.
what we're doing right now is hooking up the audio to the projector in different places. I'm whispering because it's so loud. I mean, it's nighttime. So when you're walking around checking out the haunt, you should have the audio. There's another one here. So then we have 3 speakers all hooked up, so as you walk around the house and even in the queue line, you'll hear all the sounds that's coming from the projection mapping. Well, hopefully we answered some of your questions and answered everything you were very curious about. Like Liam said, this was a fun year. We were very busy at the time as well, so we did as much as we could do. And next year should be exciting and see what we can come up with. Thanks for subscribing and stay spooky, my friends.